Hey, good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Yeah, good to see you. How's the morning there?
Um, it's dark. It's beautiful, but the sun is just coming up right now. Do you realize that in 3 weeks, it's going to be the shortest day of the year?
Sorry, couldn't get your question.
Do you realize in 3 weeks it's going to be the shortest day of the year?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Short stay.
I just realized that this morning. Yeah, it's fine. It's cool here. It's right at freezing, but at the same time, the sky is clear, clear, clear. I live on the edge of the desert, so at nighttime, you can see all the satellites. You can see the arm of the galaxy and everything, but at the same time we're way up at an altitude where it's freezing. How are you doing?
Doing good, Tim. Here's the weather is little cold as well, but we are not anytime snow. We don't see snow, especially in Bangalore now. But what has happened recently, a couple of days back, a near state of ours, was Chennai, uh, had a storm.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
that has affected mostly the weather-wise. I mean, generally it's not that chilled the way it is today in Bangalore, but yeah, some side effects. But otherwise, how is pandemic treating in? Do you
Oh,
have
boy.
news?
Actually, the entire United States is struggling, and it keeps on getting worse and worse and worse and worse. We are in a bless you. We're in a very interesting time. We're locked down again for a while. The state of New Mexico, like all the other states in the United States, is broken up into small counties, and each county has its necessary level. And the governor came on and said, "Look, at each state from now on, if you have problems in each county, um,
Mhm.
if you have problems, we're going to actually lock you down, and then we're going to find the problem within a few hours, and we're going to shut that problem down." Now, that means a store 15 minutes away from me is closed and has to clean up and is down. That means all of a sudden my county is red and I can't get out of my house for 2 weeks, and it has to prove that it's better. And so we're really in a big problem here. It's the pandemic now is real. It's
Uh-huh.
at our doorsteps, and people are feeling that all over the state here. And we have this reality, not just here, but we're nowhere near the top 20, and we're still fighting county by county. California is destroyed. New York State is just crippled, and many of the other places. And the problem is, people still gather, and they gather and they share and they share and they go back home. And these clusters work like little time bombs all over the place. And so after Thanksgiving last Thursday, more people traveled than the entire year. So we're waiting for the next 2 weeks to see what happens. It's not a disaster. Okay,
Uh,
we're still running,
don't you
but
see
it's
vaccine
probably.
coming on the way?
Go ahead, please. Please say
Sorry,
again.
sorry. Yeah, I just had news. It says that the vaccine should be out in second week of December. Don't you see that coming in?
Yes, we see the vaccine coming in, but the vaccine does not protect you. That's the real fear. Vaccines are not like a plastic cellophane that you put around you. It makes your body stronger, and it works within a couple days to a week. And one of the vaccines, you have to take 2 shots. And some of them are 90% effective, and some of them are 95% effective. And they're going to go to the most needed first. So we don't even know what that looks like. And because there has not been a centralized response to all of this pandemic in the United States, the federal government has not been there. The communication has been incorrect. The actions have been ill-advised. And so we're crippled. We don't even know. I would love to tell you that we're going to get vaccines in a few weeks. I don't know. It looks like they're going to roll out to the early people. And it looks like we're going to get 2 or 3 vaccines here in the next few weeks. But we have yet to see how effective they are. We're waiting for it. Boy, are we. All of us in the United States, we all went and got our flu shots, our regular seasonal flu shots. And that's what these are going to be. They're going to be regular flu shots, and we're going to get them every 5 to 6 months. We're going to have to.
Good. I mean, in India, specific this week, Prime Minister Modi actually went to 3 of the institutes which is working on vaccine, different pharmaceutical facilities he went. I think there's some positive news coming out, but when we gonna get the vaccine, is the date still need to be out? We don't have a date as such, or the timeline when it's. Yeah, hopefully if you get it once, send it to my address as well.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. And again, we're going to be struggling like this for another 8 to 10 months. It doesn't bother me. I work from home, and we're struggling. And restaurants are crippled. Stores. We can only have 75 people in a large grocery store at a time right now. And this is just the reality. We're not running out of anything. We're not running out of food or anything. It's just changed our lives totally, which I would like to talk to you about. You are going to be going back to work here, aren't you?
Yeah, so opening tomorrow, Tim, and hopefully we should be back in. Everybody should be back in office by January 4th. That's what we have announced. But the office is going to remain open from tomorrow. Anybody who is interested, who is having any issues at home, can come to office and work. I mean, that's the message that has gone out.
Wow. How is everybody responding to that?
Excited. They are yet to understand this. I mean, few of the people who actually live little far from Bangalore, so they are little hesitant in coming all the way to Bangalore back. Especially the people who are who live alone. The the employees who live in PG or hostels. So those guys are a little reluctant, but I can understand their fear. I mean, it's absolutely justified fear that they have. But what I'm trying to ensure things is with certain safety measures and certain rules and regulations, I think we should be able to work with maximum coverage
Okay.
in terms of.
Okay. So your people are comfortable somewhat. There's a little hesitancy, and you're comfortable. Now, Do you have any hesitancy?
No, I don't have an hesitancy because the way I've been living for almost 7, 8 months now, uh, with my family and some of my friends, I've been meeting occasionally, not very often. But all I need to do is basically take the good things or the good measures that I've been taking in the last 7 months and continue in the coming days. I think things should control, especially wearing mask, keeping a distance from person to person, and be a little careful. I think these are the few steps which have saved me so far, and should save me in coming days as well with my
Wow.
continuation at work.
Wow. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Good, good. So you and I talked about what we can do to actually ensure a good reopening of a business. I went back to my notes. I attended a couple webinars and I put my thoughts together and I came up with a laundry list of things that you need to consider reopening. And it has to do with creating an inclusive, strong front to one opponent, which is, again, the pandemic. And I'd like to go through that
Mhm.
list with you, and you can actually comment on this and see if this resonates with the way you do business, or if it breaks the way you do business. And we can talk about that. Um, so let's go through that list real quickly, and then you and I can bounce these ideas. And everyone out there, if you're interested in commenting, if you're interested in asking questions, please do. Um, the first thing is, and this is what I was checking with you right off the bat. Are you ready to come back to the office? And you've already said yes. See, you're going to have two jobs. You're going to be looking at, first of all, running your business. And you're going to be tied up with a lot of these business crises and activities. But at the same time, you're going to have to ensure everyone and everything is safe. And you're going to be having those feelers out, and you're going to be testing and evaluating that. So you're going to be multitasking a little bit more than usual. Interesting. And you cannot stop this because you're testing, number one, do my workers feel comfortable? Can they actually get work done? And number two, are they physically safe? And then you're on top of that running a business, so you're going to be busy. um, Second of all, know where the risks of exposures are. Where in the building? Okay, where in the building are the greatest risks? And that's something that you're going to know, and that's something everybody's going to know. The water cooler, the cafeteria, the points where people may not wear their masks 100% of the time, the place where people may be closer than 2 meters, the place where people want to and need to interact socially. And it's not bad. It's just that you're going to have to be aware of these, and they are going to too. So there's two things you can do with that knowledge, right? If you know what they are, you can say, okay, we're just going to have to adhere to a little more stringent control here. I know you're going to have to pull your masks down to eat, and you're going to be talking. So let's make sure that we wash our hands. Everybody washes our hands before and after, and then we'll that'll signal us that we're going to be okay. Now, if you make this a ritual, you're building it in to the health of the group, and you're building it into the confidence that the group is going to make this through. And that's the key. Your strength is not in the individuals. Your strength is in creating a group and helping the group develop a healthy culture that supports this. And you can't do it without sharing this information. How does that sound?
No, absolutely. So good. So you mentioned about the specific areas that the employees should be little careful when they or when they step in, right?
Mhm.
Similarly, I'm talking about the work location.
Right.
What are the places which we can avoid, which is not necessary? I'll give you an example. Printer. You see, I mean, that's the one place which I think it's not important for everybody to be around that particular machine all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And how much printing at this point in your work is needed? I know it's great for an engineer has to have a document to sit down with and write notes on and share on. But is there another way we can do this in such a way? Now, we're lucky. We're lucky that this bug does not exist on paper. Okay, we're lucky that this pandemic is an aerosol. It travels through air, not on paper. So sharing paper is not going to be a problem, but sharing air is going to be the problem. And so this is you're spot on. These are the points where people are going to gather and interact. And so this is exactly what you're going to be looking for. Okay.
Right. Corner of the office that I could quickly remember. Likewise, there are many other places, Tim, that I think people should avoid. Unnecessary movements across the reception area. Right. That's another area that I see many people coming in and standing by side, which is not necessary. Once you step in, please go and have your seat and get on to your work. I mean, you see, so unnecessary movement should be restricted. That's one thing which I want to pass on as a message. What's your view on this?
Exactly. Exactly. Every store, every building has a front entry. If there were multiple entries, that would be great. If there was a back door, that would be great. And then you could basically assign people different entry points, and that would limit one single point of people gathering. Or you could actually stagger it by time, have somebody come in 15 minutes early, have somebody come in 30 minutes late, and work with it that way so you don't have a huge gathering within about 3 to 5 minutes at one point. There are a lot of different unique strategies you could do, especially when you have a place where you have an administrative worker looking and observing.
Hmm. Also, the other thing that I think it's important to highlight is the meetings that we do, generally meetings. We have a meeting room, isn't it? I think we should avoid, especially, we should not have meetings in a closed room or a conference room out there.
I've been
What's your views?
watching I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of these podcasts have the people in the same room, but they're 3 or 4 meters apart. And
Right.
they use the angle of the camera to actually show that these two guys are together, and they're both with headsets, and they're both talking into a microphone, but they're distancing. It's a little tricky. Now, are you going to have part of your people in the office and part of the people away?
I would love to have everybody inside the office with certain measures, But then we have restrictions from the government side as well, Tim. Here, especially in India, especially in Bangalore when we talk about it. So it's only one third or maybe 50% of the capacity which is allowed to work from the office, especially the IT offices I'm talking about. So there
Right.
are guidelines and restrictions from the government side as well that we need to follow. How is
Yeah.
back in the US?
Um, even the largest grocery stores can only have a maximum of 75 people. 25% right now. If we actually wait this out for 2 or 3 weeks, and if the numbers show we're getting back to a somewhat normal, 1 to 3% of the people are sick, and that's what they're looking at, the numbers. We're 3.5 to 5% of the population right now is getting sick on a daily basis, and on a weekly basis. I'm sorry, and
Right.
1 to 3. Once we're down to that number, we're going to be able to have more. But right now, we're 25%. We're running these closures by the strict numbers, not by a government edict. That's the trick we are with us. So right now, like I said, we're in extreme lockdown. We're red.
Right, right. I have some points that you mentioned it on. I would like to put it on the screen so that we can go through good points that you mentioned, Tim.
Excellent,
Uh,
excellent.
let
We
me do
yeah,
that.
let's please do.
Let me see if I'm able to share my screen here.
Yeah, if you're not, I'll be able to. I think.
Share. Yeah, we can do it here. Yeah, wonderful.
Excellent. Just a second here. Yeah, and as soon as it's up on the screen, we can talk about it.
Right. These are your points, Tim. So I'd like you to pick these points. I mean, let's pick it up one on one, and then let's see how far this is feasible for a business and an individual to comply these points. Okay. So
And
first point
again,
that you have
and
mentioned it here. Yeah.
go ahead. I want to actually source these points too. I've collected this. I've collected this from my state government and from the CDC, the federal government guidelines. And I've also looked at 2 or 3 consulting groups, and they all mesh really nicely. I already talked about the first bullet, right? Make sure you're ready to come
Mhm.
back to the office and that you have duties to run the business, right? Okay, so you're going to be multitasking, right? And know where the risks to exposure are, the entry points, the exit points, the cafeterias, and these points. Communicate those and build rituals around them so that people feel comfortable and safe. And if you can,
Right.
stagger. Now, printers, I think that was brilliant for you to bring up. That was a great point there. Understand that people are still going to get sick, and plan for it, and make sure that everybody knows getting sick isn't bad, but getting sick is human. And also plan for someone to get sick at work. Do you have an isolation point? Do you have a point where you can interact with people? Can you make sure everybody understands that this is normal? We're not punishing you. We
Right.
want to
Right. So
protect you.
it's very important. Yeah, just wanted to add in here, Tim, when you talk about people falling sick, I mean that's quite obvious, uh, right? And now it's very important for an individual to notify to the HR, saying that, hey, you know what, I'm having flu or whatever. I mean, there has to be a very transparent communication between you and the HR, so the HR can actually advise the right steps and take some necessary measures to control it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and again, it's the job. It's Yeah, and it's the job of HR to do 2 things, okay? And we have to understand this. It's the job of HR to protect the business, and it's the job of HR to also protect the people. And they are working as a part of your brain. And that's what we're looking at here, the ability to do both.
Right.
Yeah, good. Good. Now, there's going to be a lot of changes. And make sure that you and HR and everybody who is impacted, number one, knows the changes. And number two, knows that change is going to be the order of the day from now on. This is the way things are going to work. We're not going to actually be able to do anything else but change. This is what we know today. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, we're going to review this. It's not that I don't think you don't understand. It's that I want us to all understand that here are the things that are changing and here are the things that are not changing. That's all. Yeah,
Right.
that's it. And plan to be open and plan to communicate and make sure that everybody knows that it's your job and you're demonstrating how you expect everybody else to be open and how everybody else is going to communicate. By saying this, you understand that people who don't normally voice their fears and anxiety are going to probably need to voice their fears and anxiety. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be a different group from what you experienced before. These people are going to be happy and excited. These people at the same time are going to be scared and excited, and they want to be around people, and at the same time they can't be around people and they don't want to be around people. And you're going to have this clash of emotions constantly. And one of the things that you can do from a social guidance standpoint is say, it's all right. This is the way humans are supposed to behave in this type of environment. This is not wrong. Don't worry about it. We'll figure this out. We'll do this together, and we'll make it through. And again, what you can do also, and you can create a milestone event. Like, once we've done this for these, we've proven to ourselves that this works, and we can do it another 14 days and another 14 days, which means we're successful and we can actually do this without anybody get sick. And now, if somebody does get sick, it's not a problem either, because we'll get through this and we'll make sure that person is okay. We'll do what we can to keep the business running. And we'll also make sure that when that person gets healthy, they feel comfortable and relaxed, and we can get back to business with them and get the business even stronger.
Right. You have mentioned in your list, Tim, regarding a day one, everyone reorganized together and should be given a task. Can you highlight some of the tasks that you would like to give out?
Yeah. So let's. Do you have small isolated offices, or do you have cubicles in an open area?
I'll tell you my situation, Tim. I have an office with a capacity of 100 people, approximately, and we are closed room. It's a big hall that we have, which has some 100 seating arrangements, and that's about it. I mean, we don't have a second exit yet, but that's your cat, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh,
it is. She's telling me that she wants attention right now. So are your working spaces about 2 to 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters?
yeah. So current sitting arrangement that we have in office, it doesn't have that much space. But what I was thinking to leave one seat, uh, in between, to create space between the two workstations. So
Great.
that can actually make it a much larger space of two, I think, a meter and a half.
Okay, have you already assigned these seats?
Yes, it's done. It's done. So we have ensured that one seat is always vacant in between the two.
Okay, so what you can do is go in and make sure have a meeting first of all in a shared area, and have a meeting where everybody can sit down, in quote unquote isolation, and then say, okay, guys, um, and go over these rules and talk about them and talk about how you're going to move forward, and say the first thing we're going to do together is wipe everything down. We're going to wipe our work areas down so we feel safe in our work areas. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to have each person actually physically creating their little bubble. And this gives them confidence that they can get their work done in their bottle. They're basically, creating their territory. It's like day one of coming to work. What do? You set out your keyboard, you set out your mouse, you set out your picture of your family and your pets. You move the light to where you want to do. And everybody doing that at the same time is, number one, creating my little bubble. Number two, creating my little bubble that's a part of many, 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 many other little bubbles together. And you're doing it as, number one, safe. Number two, we feel safe. Number three, we are a cohesive group. And this is really important. These little signals are what designate the group and the organization.
That's true. Any guidelines for the HR folks that you would like to pass on? How they should start on day one?
Actually, HR's job is probably 2 to 4 weeks before day one, is to sit down and think all this out and have a plan and start communicating. If all the employees know, they don't have to know all the details, but if HR can actually tell all the people, we're going to be getting in here and we're going to be opening the doors here in a couple of weeks. How do you feel about this? It's not that they have a decision about it. They may or may have to open, right? But they say, we know these are challenging times, and we're going to do this together. So you're communicating confidence and cohesion of the group and support of the individual, like early on. And you have, as you get closer and closer, you have a strong message of, here's how the first day is going to work. And this is going to establish how we're going to work the rest of our time together until we're on top of the pandemic. It's basically that clarity and transparency and total communication. That's what HR has to be doing right now, and they are your announcers. They're at the head. They're the people in an army with the trumpets and saying, we're coming, we're going to be here, and everything's going to be all right, and we're going to set up camp, and you're going to feel safe. That HR should be doing right now. And as they move in, they're going to be very visible, and they're going to be interacting with everybody from a communication standpoint. They are your flow of communication. Now, for small businesses, if HR is a job instead of a person, we're still saying that HR does that same thing. You are in a lot of the small businesses I work with, the CEO is HR, and guess what? You are HR, and you're going to do this if you're the HR designee. Next, providing the structure, and this is again what you're saying. HR should be doing these type of things. Have a structure to the day. Let's rethink our breaks. Let's rethink these things, and let's take breaks together, everyone, and let's take lunches together. It's not that we're going to take lunches and breaks together in the same physical spaces, and it can be silly. Okay, what we can during the breaks is actually open up our communication tools like Zoom, like WhatsApp, and that kind of thing. And you can take your breaks and your lunches with the people that are still outside of the office, that are still working from home, and continue this habit so that everybody's included. And if you're sick and you feel like it, you can still be part of the group if you need somebody to talk to. Lunch, share lunches, and open up the communication tools and make sure that everybody's included. This way, people get used to using a new way of doing business, so that if you do go back into lockdown, guess what? People are going to go back to their homes, and they're still going to have lunch together. They're going to still have breaks together, and they're still going to be able to talk to each other and blow off steam and not be upset. And they're engaged. They're not just engaged in work, and they are going to be engaged in work, but they're also going to be engaged in a social environment that's standing together. That's the opportunity that HR can take, and that's the opportunity every business can take. Remote workers, I cannot stress enough. Once you're creating this culture and it's established, remote workers are going to feel even more remote. They know they're missing out on something, and they really aren't. You're going to be structuring your business in such a way that it doesn't matter whether it's remote or in office. And there may come a time in the next 20 years that your building just goes away. You don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. And this is the beautiful thing, Kumar. We don't know what's going to happen. And we're going to see. And you're going to keep an open mind, and everybody in the office is going to keep an open mind. But if you actually right now build your culture with an understanding that, we have tools and we have behaviors and actions we do that actually make our business successful no matter what, whether we're working from home or the office. Being around each other, being co-located is a huge benefit. But if we can't do that, maybe in the future we can actually have established a way that we have a rich culture, and we have relationships, and we have a thriving business.
Right.
And again, there's, I talked about everybody being happy, excited, everybody being sad and angry, excited. And it's really important right now for you to create opportunities for everyone, including yourself, to be able to express and share. It's not that you're becoming an employee. It's that you're a leader demonstrating that everyone here is a human and we're sharing this burden together. That's a message that you and only you can actually demonstrate.
Right.
Yeah, things are happening. And again, we have opened and closed and opened and closed at times here, in my city. And we see this happening, and we observed that there are places that spread the pandemic much easier than other places. The places that spread pandemics right now, I hate to say this, well, okay, so restaurants and bars, they're culprits. Stores are really bad. Churches, and this is a real sad fact, churches are a place where people take their masks off and they spend a lot of time in the same rooms and sharing air. So we have to realize that this is a fact of life. It's not that we're punishing churches or restaurants or bars. It's just that we have to rethink how we're going to utilize these spaces and how we're going to do these previous activities that right now are killing people. And half of the nation in the United States is on one side and half is on the other side, and we won't budge right now. And we're trying to figure out how we can even get both sides of that argument to the same table. And it's a struggle. This is something that you are going to test and you are going to actually overcome inside your own company. It's a struggle.
Right. You talked about creating a channel wherein equal opportunity gets created to express fear. How this can be possible? Can you give in some ideas?
Sure. Um, First of all, say admitting that it's there. Fear is interesting. If you don't admit it and if you ignore it, it's about 20 stories high. It's a monster. If you talk about it, it gets small. And you realize fear is something that fits in the size of your head and it's smaller than your head. And so communicating it on day one, here's our fear, here's our adversary. It's going to be whispering in our ears constantly. See, that's what the fear.
Tim should be back, and there seems he has encountered into a technical glitch. He should be coming in back any moment. But what's very important and is the employee and the employer need to have a channel established which should be very transparent and could actually create a trust between the two, wherein the information can be shared related to the health, especially the COVID part. If you're flu, he can immediately actually send you a notice, and then the necessary steps can be taken. And there you need to ensure the integrity uh, of each other, and I think this can be taken care. Tim can actually put in more details in terms. Let's wait for him to come back. But yeah, people who are opening the offices and or people who are planning to start working from office, please send us your feedback and questions, or if you need to discuss on any of the points, please feel free to drop us in any of our discussion module. What also is important when you step outside the home is I don't know, every by the way, every country, I think most of the country, not every country, but most of the country has actually developed their own tracing uh, devices or tracing application. Like in India, we have Arogya Setu app, which basically the moment you come in contact of a person who is affected by COVID, I think everybody should have that app installed on their phone and should be in a working condition. And I think these small measures can actually do miracles when it comes to saving you from the virus. That's very important. What also is important is the breaks then going in a group, especially until the vaccine comes on the way. It's very important that you need to think uh, whom you're going with. And how long, how close you have been. I mean, I understand and I see you. I personally have dealt with this when we went into the lunch. When we stepped into the cafeteria, we used to be gathered by a number of folks around. Some of my best buddies. We need to avoid that. In one sentence, I can clearly say that we need to restrict the social gathering as much as possible. That's very important that we should do that. If we follow all these steps, I'm pretty sure things can be taken care, and then we should all be in a good state to keep working from the office with all health and care. And your employer is, I believe, they are very responsible. So you also need to trust them and find out the ways where you can actually go ahead and put your feedback. If you don't see anything working straight, you should always report it to your HR at the moment. Uh, Doing this will ensure both way the trust and the security of yours, and please do that. With this, we'll like to end. Tim hasn't been able to join in back. Looks like he has still some problem. In. However, the today's session is anyway uh, another 3 minutes left, so we can close it for today, and we'll come back again on Thursday to discuss on the same topic. We'll have Mark with us uh, to take our discussion forward. And till then, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop in and discuss this issue and a solution to this issue on coming Thursday. Until then, please take care of yourself and stay safe. I look forward to connect you again. Thank you. Good day.